Nuestro sol se ha ido. Nuestro sol se ha ocultado y nos ha dejado sumidos en las sombras. Pero sabemos que volverá a salir.
I travel through the Aztec calendar ages. I speak the tongue of mystic sages. Escaped all your prisons and all of your cages. I live the evolution of human stages. From hunter-gatherer to great mathematician, I built the pyramids in complex position underneath the heavens. I left a map of stars, follow the red road. It isn't that hard, it just takes all of your will and the warrior skill, never to spill the sacred blood that fills and courses through my veins. I carried all of the pain, I carry the heavy chain of a conquered people. For 500 years we have never been equal. Deported immigrant in my own land, neglected orphan who don't understand why their mom and dad hasn't come home for days. Hungry and alone, left in the days. Put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. This is starting to look like Nazi Germany, murdering the peaceful with police brutality, and the racist Congress passes bills against the poor. Silent weapons for silent wars, but my heart stays pure and my love endures. With my mato Nancy, I will find a cure. With my grandpa Tatawari, my intentions stay strong, and my soul belongs to the line of stars. Deep in the Milky Way, in the Nipi I pray for the warriors of heart to come and take away. With this verse I'll slay the animals of prey. The Atlas Chinoli sun has come our way. Lead your family to a brand new day. Lead your family to a brand new day.
Dejaron para nosotros nuestros venerables abuelos. Y con ese mismo cariño y empeño, hemos de inculcárselo a nuestros hijos para que ellos lo enseñen a los hijos de sus hijos de sus hijos. Y no olvidemos decirles y enseñarles. ¿Cómo será? ¿Cómo se reunirá? ¿Cómo tomará fuerza? ¿Y cómo concluirá nuestra gloriosa náhuatl su grandioso destino? Nuestro sol se ha ido. Nuestro sol se ha ocultado y nos ha dejado sumidos en las sombras. Pero sabemos que volverá a salir.
Yo, we are live. LA Natives Podcast, Las Aslan Natives Podcast. What up, all the early birds? We see you. Shout out to George. Shout out to Word First. It's Crack-a-Lack and Zero.
What up, my bros? Yeah, I'm just,
Zero's getting warmed up, man. We have a
Yeah.
hot show tonight. We have a lot of special guests.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I'm a little distracted, but I'm getting the groove right this second.
We're going to bring Daniel back
Yes.
for the last few weeks.
Okay. So,
We have our other brother, Daniel.
yes, I want to introduce my brother, Sky. He's one of my good friends. Known him for a few years. And, as we try to build this podcast and try to interact with the community that interacts with it, I felt like, it's kind of a good voice. How old are you, Sky?
I am 25.
So, like, getting a younger perspective, I mean, he has issues that probably I don't even know about, things that they deal with in that pool of people, perspectives that they have that they're bringing from other generations. I mean, I think he's a very intelligent guy. He asks very good questions and challenges the narrative in terms of even just my age. And I think that's cool. Don't just submit to anybody. Don't submit to anybody. You should never submit to anybody. You should always have a fair exchange between energies. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's nice and sometimes it's giving and sometimes it isn't. Once we learn how to master those things, then our life becomes a little easier. But I think that, getting the perspective of a younger generation is important, and that's why I invited you here.
Absolutely, and I just want to say thank you to Zero and thank you to Mondo and LA Natives, Underground Hip Hop Blog for having me here. I'm a student of life, and Zero's always been a great friend to me, a mentor, someone that I look at as a father figure. So it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here tonight with the crowd and just learn it. You know, as I mentioned before, I'm a student of life, so I'm always looking to learn in every aspect of life.
So let me ask you: are you a hip hop fan?
Absolutely. I'm hip hop fan, R&B fan, just a music fan. I love music in general. I'm always looking to learn about it. I look at it as therapy. I'm always listening to music 24/7.
That's what's up, man. Where are you based out of? Where are you from?
I'm from Lincoln Heights or East LA, Boyle Heights. I'm an LA native as well.
There it is. No one's gonna tell him he's not an LA native, Zero.
Well, again, as we build this podcast, we're gonna build our own versions of what that means. For me, I never wanted to go under colonial or city, things like, in other words, like for me, Los Angeles meant like, oh, that's the reservation you're from, or that's the prison you're from, or that's the, for me, then I had to be, artistic about it. I had to think of things that kind of represented what I was, but using the same letters, which was more like Las Taslan. You know what I mean? That's what it meant for me, because we're all native, but we don't know anything about it. We don't go deep into, well, at least when I was growing up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We didn't have that wisdom around. But
yes, and it's always been like superficial, like in LA, growing up in LA, like where are you from? Oh, what city, what neighborhood? You don't really think about it in a deep way in that sense. So that's a great point to bring up.
Being from a city and kind of going through the motions of many things, because when I was growing up, I was into K-Rock, I was into skating, I was into so many things, but somehow, some way, I found myself in front of the fire and going into the lodge, and that transformed my life and put it on this direction, where we're starting to, look around and go, damn, all these people are from Aslan and they don't even know it. That's what I think is, and so here I go, but I know I'm from there, so maybe I can share it with more of this community.
And I would think ultimately that's all, coming from the term or the word that's on your beanie, right? Zero?
Yeah, indigenous. Right. It's like,
everyone has
shout out to Richie 1492, dope beanies,
right?
My
Everyone
mask.
has their own definition or how they feel what indigenous means to them.
Yeah, I mean, look.
It's not one blanket definition, guys.
I mean, we can get into BIA holding, natives that can prove their indigeneity or their blood quantum, right? And then you have people who were just completely Christianized and taken away from that road. So indigenous doesn't mean that it's a certain tribe or a certain. It means many things. But for me, I think we just have to not put European narratives on these. Well, they're European words, so it's kind of hard to deal with. But we can redefine these words personally and then act upon them. Like for me, indigenous means practicing indigenous ways. What does that mean? Well, we revere the sun, so sunrise, sunset, 12 noon. We come from the place of Mexico or ancient Mexico, so they had specific times where we did these things. And then you start to practice it, and that becomes this, indigenous, or it becomes whatever you want to call it. It's really about the practice. And that's what I've learned in these past years, just applying the things that I've learned from maestros like Masatzin and Akamapishli, Osolquat. So
whatever happened to Iron Jacket?
I don't know, just disappeared. But I mean, there's always, it's just that we live in Los Angeles and it's like a trend. It becomes like a trend, and this is not what we're doing.
But
we're building a community that's consistent.
But there's people who attack other natives and question their indigenous.
That's okay.
You know,
could
and
question.
that's like clickbait. It's all over social media all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean, natives can have. I mean, some reservation natives don't think that Mexicans are native or that for whatever it is. It doesn't matter as long as you're practicing what you're practicing and you're learning what you're learning and you're applying it to your life. That's what you are. It's kind of like I could be Buddhist, right? And then if I, wear a robe and shave my head and go to the temple, I'm gonna be Buddhist, right? Same thing if I go to church. I'm carrying a Bible. I talk about Jesus. Then I'm a Christian. It's not a race.
Yeah.
People try to confuse that shit. Like, oh, indigenous, it's a race. It's not a race. Race was brought by Europe.
You know what I heard?
People.
You know what I heard the other day? Just from, I guess, social media. It was like a meme. People associate being indigenous hating white people. I don't agree with that. It's not that we hate all white people or indigenous people hate white people.
But see
that's
how-
not the case. It's just I disagree with the white people who disrespect the land, the wind, the water, the fire,
Exactly.
and all the
They
true
exploit
elements.
it.
If you're one of those dudes, then that's the category you fall in.
Well, and that's not even a race. It's not like only white people abuse and exploit the land. No, that's just a European capitalistic view of ownership over things they shouldn't own, like land. There's so much of it, but they restrict you from it. They say it's theirs. Like it's very confusing concepts when we as indigenous people understood that there was enough for everyone. As long as we all just got along and stayed in our spaces and not kind of conflicted. But I'm not going to say that we didn't fight each other. We fought each other. We stole from each other. We stole each other. That still existed, but it wasn't like, well, you're less than me because you're not white, or you're not from Europe, or you're not from whatever. Let's not call it white, because everybody's going to call it white. It's going to be a race.
Yep.
But believe me, there's people in the White House right now that are fucking Indian, black, Chinese, Filipino, and they're white.
Jewish.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's just as bad. There's no.
maybe
Jewish,
worse.
right? It's
Maybe
worse,
worse.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe worse.
I heard a lot of Jewish people run DC. I don't know. That's
We'll go
Shout out
down.
to my
We'll
Jewish
go
brothers
down
and
that
sisters.
rabbit hole
We're
one
not,
day.
We're not anti-Semitic here. We got to say that.
no, of course not.
No,
Shout out to all
absolutely.
my brothers.
For real. Shout out.
Shout out to
Jewish
Kosher
people out
Deals.
there.
That's my boy right there.
Yeah. So no, that's basically what we're saying is that there is no race. We get behind things because we're all black, right?
Yes.
We're all black. Yeah, but you just fucking robbed my house the other day, and that motherfucker tried to hit on my wife, and that's not unity just because we're black. Unity is like, no, dude, we respect everybody, we protect each other, we contribute to everybody. Like everybody benefits from our collective understanding. That is far more greater than I'm black or I'm black Mexican or I'm Chinese and I'm down with you no matter what you did. I'm down with you because you're Chinese,
Yeah.
That's Europe brought those races. It's divide and conquer. People go, well, they're dividing us because they're manipulating it. They divided you just by saying you're fucking native and you're fucking Chinese and you're black. There's the division, and people don't see it.
Yeah, it becomes a matter of, instead of challenging race, let me challenge your mentality instead of challenging the color of your skin.
Exactly. Like all of a sudden, like it's kind of like we go, oh, we just saw a black dude. Oh, damn, he's gonna fucking rob us or something. We're gonna automatically jump to that instead of seeing a dangerous person.
Now,
dangerous
is there a
person.
stereotype with smash and grabs? Because in the media, it seems to me, whenever they're covering smash and grabs, do you guys know what I mean about smash and grabs?
Yeah,
Where,
they go into
there's a group of
Louis Vuitton, and they
kids
start
okay,
go and steal hundreds of $1,000s worth of shit. Is it me or is it just a whole bunch of black kids doing it? Because the media is trying to push that.
Yes.
Look,
That's how I feel.
of course, colonial power structures are going to use race as a tool to go look at the bad guys, right? And then you gotta and so the perspective is not to look at the color of the person or the type of person he is. Look at what the person is doing. That's what you're supposed to look at. These kids are, doesn't matter if they could be Mexican. It could be 4 Mexicans and 2 blacks and 1 Chinese dude. It doesn't matter. Those people are stealing something. Right? Not that I'm protecting Louis Vuitton. I don't give a fuck what they do. You know, but I'm pointing out we need to stop judging people because they come from a certain race instead of judging the actions they have. You understand?
Yep.
Like, you need to be clear about somebody. Like in other words, like, okay, we're native and you're native and you're, you know, you go, oh, I'm going to sell you some, you know, I'm going to sell you my car and it's all fucked up. And it's like, but we're native, bro, you know, just, you know, and I take it and it's fucking fucked up. And I'm like, hey, bro, what's up with the car? He's like, oh, man, I'm sorry, bro, but, you know, we're native.
So that's is.
Yeah, we're like, we should be cool with each
it's
other.
okay. It's okay.
In other words, you know what I mean? It's kind of that was a not so good metaphor for it, but you catch my drift. You just don't get a pass just because you're native. And I like it that way.
You don't get a pass if
I like it that way because remember you said
you don't get a pass if you're a trash ass indigenous native hip hop artist.
No.
I want to say that clearly right now, guys, because there's a lot of corny indigenous hip hop out there.
Yeah.
Well, you have to come.
I
with
mean,
it,
there
guys.
wasn't any before.
There wasn't any before.
Now
There it is.
you know,
Zero said it.
I mean, nowadays with social media and music being in the space that it is, you have so many artists. But that's a very important thing to kind of just start to really mull over as the LA native community is like, we can't be gullible and say it's because of white people. It's not. I'm not defending white people. I want to go deeper than just the surface of a race. I want to see actions. I want to see why they are doing it. And it happens to be that they're white. You know, like in Doctrine of Discovery, in my song Doctrine of Discovery, it just happens to be that they're white. The people that came and did all this destructive things, you know. And yes, the majority of them come from European descent or white or whatever. But there's a lot of us that are Mexican that are fucking trying to take advantage. There's a lot of black people that are trying to take advantage because it's called capitalism, and capitalism doesn't have a race. It's just business, right? That's the quote. It's just business, bro. Well, instead of it just being business, bro, it's just the actions you did, bro. Has nothing to do with your skin color. It's just the actions you've done, you know?
Exactly.
You're disrespectful. You thought less of me. Has nothing to do with your blue eyes and blonde hair. It has to do with the fact that you think you're more than me.
Yeah, it's the principle. It's
Right.
not. It's not. It's
And
not.
you could be saying that to a raza or a native or whoever. It's the mentality that they sneak in and that has nothing to do with it. Well, it does. It comes with a certain arrogance, you know, where you think when you think you're better than someone because you come from a certain place or you have a certain wealth. Right? It doesn't make you smarter to be rich. Just because you have a lot of money does not make you smart. It does not make you smart. Makes you smart means I lived and had a healthy life, and those are my children, and those are my grandchildren, and this is, you know what I mean? And look at how much I gave back to my community and saw a problem and solved it. Maybe not solved it, but contribute to the solving it. You know, that's my whole mission with Malinali is I'm not trying to solve people's lives. I'm trying to say, this helped me a lot to do this. You should try it. That's it. And that's my contribution to the community upon which I came from, which is East Los Angeles, Whittier Boulevard. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's my clever way. It's not even a clever way. That's my masterful way coming from my Toltec wisdom on how to affect the community upon which I came that caused so much damage, and now I'm giving it back love. Because you can't defeat love.
It's a cycle, like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's a cycle, and it's gonna have its ups and downs.
Well, I mean, we're not born no one had a rule book that said, oh, okay, because you're a little baby, you're not going to suffer. You know, it's like, you're going to suffer. It's how you take the suffering. What are you going to do with the suffering? For me, luckily, the ancestors guided me to be a poet, to be somebody that makes music, to be somebody that's creative. Where I saw a lack of something, I used my creativity, because my creativity is rooted in love, and love has no color or gender. It just is. It's a power that you just want to share with everyone. And you create ways on how to do that. And one of those ways was Malinali Superfoods, Plant-Based Aslan, LA Natives, my music, El Vu. I was tripping out this morning, and I'm looking at my hands, and I'm like, looking at and I remember when I didn't have these tattoos, and I didn't know as much as I do now. And I didn't apply those principles of our ancestors to my life like I do now. And I look at my hands, and I see my tattoos that represent all those journeys and learnings. And I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, dude, this has been a long road, and I've been dedicated to this road for a very long time. Not just by looks. Malinali, Plant-Based Aslan, LA Natives, my music. That's how I'm contributing to the healing of a place where we thought it was. I love East Los Angeles. I grew up there. My grandfather bought his house right back at Garfield High School. We've been there for a very long time. My son went to the same high school that his grandmother went to. I thought that was special. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are just tiny little moments in life that we tie to. Not that it's important that they went to the same high school. It's just that the spaces, they occupied the same spaces. And that's all we really want. That's all really the strength of community is that generations after generations learn these things. When we go back into ancient cultures of the Aztec, the Maya, the Toltec, it's because they had thriving communities that continued to contribute to that same community. And they got better at things, and they got better at studying, and they got better at documenting, and then they passed it down when they started seeing it die. That's how it lives so long. The Mexica were the ones that grabbed it all, because they were going to be the ones that were the last to hold that wisdom. Absolutely. And so what they did was they planted it in metaphorically. So when the plant gets, like when the maíz comes and it dries up and it turns into a dry husk, it falls onto the floor and that seed goes into the ground. That's what happened 500 years ago.
Shout out to the Conscious Chicano. Guys, remember, it's 626-596-1033. We have a caller. Yo, do you hear us?
I do.
How you doing today?
I hear you. I'm doing good. Great.
Do you have anything to say?
Well, I can go all my life saying stuff. Zero's doing pretty good right now. I like everything he's saying.
Thank you.
I believe you watched a few of our episodes, man. We appreciate you calling in, man. What is it that you want to say on the show?
What did you want to share, my bro?
Well, we're talking about race.
Right.
Man, that's the thing. We've been divided from our ancestors. And many of us have found our way back.
Absolutely.
Or maybe they found their way here. I don't know what it is. But I'll tell you what, it's genetic.
Yeah.
And I feel it in me. When they came to me, it was an experience. I'm 70 years old.
Oh.
I used to low ride and everything, just like Zero. But they came to me and they took me away with music.
Mm.
And the way our people used to say it, they took me to the spirit land
Nice.
and told me many things. And when I returned, I had a message, but I was in the army at the time and in Korea, and I had people that were listening to me, but sometimes they wasn't the right people. And so they reported me, and I tried to spread the message, and I became a peaceful man. It was a complete transformation of my spirit. And it was love for all things. And I was trying to get that message out. And they said something was wrong with me because some people saw me go through the transformation. And something's wrong with me. So they took me and filled me full of Thorazine, which is an antipsychotic drug.
Mm.
And they honorably discharged me from the Army, so I'm back home now as a disabled veteran. But I'll tell you what, I'm not disabled. And I tried to tell them that. They just don't understand what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And that's one of the institutions
Right.
that took over our people.
Right.
And there's all their institutions have been collectively working together to funnel us through their system.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it, and I know Zero can see it.
Yeah.
And our people are trying to work their way out of that whirlpool, that downward spiral that they want us to go into.
Wow, right, Zero. That's crazy.
I mean, these institutions we have been institutionalized so long that we think that schools and even hospitals are there to help us.
Right. And shout out to all my brothers and sisters that serve in the military. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Sir. My twin brother was in the military. But Zero has his opinions on the military.
Yes. Well, I mean, all institutions, right? Because they're put in place to keep order in whatever lands that they feel like they own, right? Now, then people go, well, like the brother said, he struggled with the Army, and he struggled with his, them telling him like, no.
And then they called him crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever the case may be that the brother had to go through, I just have if we take the perspective that life wasn't and isn't supposed to be easy, that every single choice we make is super important, because maybe the brother would be like, you know what am I going to do? What else am I going to do? I'm just going to join the Army. I'm not saying that that's what his story is. I'm just saying some brothers say that.
Absolutely, yes.
And then they come out of there going, damn, they shot me up with things. And because when you join an institution like that, they own you now. Like, you're not a free person, right? What happens if you leave the base when you want? You're considered what? AWOL. That's like a slave running away from a slave plantation. I mean, they may not go send out the dogs to go find you, but you're in violation of something. And these institutions are not designed for your benefit, whether it be the Army, the Navy, whatever. I'm just saying they're not designed. They're designed to protect rich people, because rich people are the ones that benefit from their aggression. It's not us. We get to go, oh, yeah, we live in the land of the free, man. We sacrificed and we live in the land of the free. Yeah, but while we were fighting for the land of the free, this motherfucker got ultra rich. Like, massively rich.
Through the stock market.
Prescott Bush. Yeah. Prescott Bush, right? World War II.
Through commercial real estate.
Yeah. World War II, dude. World War II. World War II had a lot of like commingling from the German and the industrial side of things, like people that made rubber tires would sell to the Nazis and little things like that. People made money off of that thing. You know what I mean? So then it's like, We're all going, we're fighting for freedom, and these motherfuckers in the back are making millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars. And we're foolishly fighting for a fake fucking dream that they're selling you that no one is real, because you got to have money. You got to go buy that land. You got to go build that house. You got to go to a banker to give you a loan. Like, we got to start peeling the onion, my friends. You know, take control. How do we do that? How do we do that, Sky? What do you think?
I feel like the first step is knowing who you are, right?
So we go to the mind.
You got to go, not just the mind, but you got to look at the body as a whole, right? So you got to address health. You got to address everything. You can't just be in, the mentality. You got to look at every aspect of your life, right?
Right.
If I'm a young man who's thinking about joining the military, maybe I need to stop and say, well, why do I want to join the military? What am I eating first, right? How am I treating my mom? How am I treating my family members, right? All these things need to be accounted for before I make, as you mentioned,
a life decision.
Decision, exactly, going back to decisions.
Yeah.
I think that's something that gets overlooked because, especially as young men, we're so like, when we graduate high school, what am I going to do, right? Oh, man, I don't have money. Military, man. Oh, Ruben, why don't you join the military? You know, you just graduated high school. Oh, you know, it could pay for your school. It could do this. It could do that. Right. We don't really look at it as a life decision. Well, we do look at it as a decision, but we don't really take into account all those things.
Right. Because we're pressured and we're not guided, and we don't have the same systems that were structured in the ancient times or in the times of indigenous, in the times of the indigenous time. I don't know why I got caught up saying something. But anyways, the point is that I saw this really cool post, and I found the link, but I lost it. But basically, I saw this this maestro from Mexico start saying, you know, how beautiful life is, and how we don't take it for granted, like to breathe, to be able to fall in love, to be able to create something. I mean, it's an extraordinary experience, but we sometimes, when it doesn't go our way, we start breaking it down and taking it for granted. Kind of like the decision of like, well, fuck it, I'll just go for the army, and then they go to war, and then you're fucking there, and then you're dead for somebody else to get rich. Because they're not about that. It's not about that. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, you know, I don't want to get too deep into the Palestine and Gaza thing, but there's plans for that land. There's reasons why they're just bombing the shit out of it, because they don't want the sewer system to exist anymore. They don't want the electrical stuff to exist anymore, so that they can't go, hey, well, let's move all the rubble now and fix it. They want it completely decimated.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world are going, but there's fucking people there. Oh, man, that's some political, you know, Netanyahu. People are not on that level of going, there's fucking babies there.
Yep, but the terrorists are in the tunnels.
There's fucking babies there. And no, the terrorists in the tunnel thing, is their excuse. But then they don't. It's kind of like
They're
the press.
They're raping babies. And
Okay, so they're saying we get into the propaganda of things, right? Like what they used to do in World War II, where they're like, "Oh, fucking Hitler, man, he's a fucking enemy. He's the enemy guy." But Prescott Bush is like in the back going, "Oh, how many tires do you need? How many cars do you need?" And then the CNN cameras going, "Well, but they're fucking Hitler. He's killing all the Jews and blah 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 and this and that and this and that." And the back end of things, you know, big business is selling bullets, selling guns. That's what, and we foolishly are fighting for something that's not real. Right? They're going, oh yeah, Hamas, yeah. It doesn't matter if there's fucking kids there. Hamas is there. It's like, it's the best. I saw a pundit describe it. It's like a psychopathic narcissist beating the shit out of you, and then getting mad because you made him beat the shit out of you. These are the type of mentalities that created the institutions that we go and that we give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be good for us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's that's where we're at, man. We got to start peeling the fucking onion back. And look, I don't want it to make it seem hopeless because it's really not. It's really not hopeless when you trust in what was put there for you with love and dedication. And that is our ancestral way. Those are indigenous ways. To practice, to have respect, to use medicine, the medicines that are given to you by the earth. And I'm not talking about like ayahuasca or anything like that. I'm talking about like sage. I'm talking about like tobacco. I'm talking about copal. I'm talking about things that instantly go into your nostrils and somehow, some way, your DNA remembers that sap from that tree that comes from that place and that time. That's how powerful our body is. So then compare that to capitalism and the backdoor deals to war. It doesn't compare.
No.
Because only a few benefit from those backdoor deals. You can't fool the people all the time. Bob Marley said it. You can fool some people sometime. That changed my life. Those Bob Marley lyrics changed my life. I'm setting it up because my brother from Teocalli is going to come in, and we're going to start talking about an event that we're going to be doing on February. But Bob Marley said it. You can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool people all the time. You can't be the one that goes, oh, I get to fool everybody all the time. And that's what Israel's trying to pull. No offense. And I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-murder of children. I'm anti-murder of babies. No excuse. No excuse.
But do you condemn Hamas for attacking this rave or this festival that was going down?
Look, what happened there does not excuse killing babies. Nothing you tell me is going to say, oh, but okay. You said, okay, how many people did they die or how many, whatever?
I really don't know, but
let's put a number to it, 500, 700,
Let's say
800.
500 people died.
500 people died, you know? You're saying, well, but they killed 500 people. Well, does that justify murdering or unaliving children? No excuse. No excuse.
Or just life, period, right? I mean,
Period. That's how far.
solution?
That's how far we are. Where we're debating whether it's, you know what I mean? Like that's how fucking far
We
we've
have to
gone.
debate that. That's crazy.
How do we have to debate that? That's not even a debate. It's not even a debate when it comes to murdering children. Okay, here's why. I was talking to one of my good friends at Malinali. Let me text Daniel too from Teocalli because I want to get him on there.
Yo, so Heron says, shout out to Heron. That's our brother right there. He says Israel
Did
killed...
you send the link to
Yes, I did.
Teocalli? To Teocalli?
Yeah, I just emailed it to him. The homie Heron says Israel killed their own people on October 7th.
And they may have because who I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say who knows or who any of that. The point is, there's no excuse to kill babies. No excuse. No excuse. No excuse. You know why? You know why I feel that way? I feel that way because General Custer used to come into the camps while people were sleeping. Babies were sleeping and shooting them in their head because they needed the land. This is American soil, and you're our enemy. That blew an indigenous warrior's mind. Like, what? No excuse for doing that. We didn't see the savagery of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's no excuse to harm the most sacred, precious thing that this earth gives us, which are tiny babies. We need to have more respect for life. And yes, it's far away, but we need to send that energy out there because we are energy. We need to learn how to focus and flow our energy. Just like Sky had a great answer for what I asked him. What do we do to change this? Well, we start with our body. We start with this one person because that's what the abuelo from Mexico was saying. He's like, we have this opportunity to live life and to experience these things, And we also have the ability to be disciplined about what we are, controlling our experience. Now imagine if we were all healthy and we all controlled our experience and we all meditated. How strong of a force would that be? Versus one person being focused and meditated and leading a bunch of group that doesn't really want to be focused and don't want to be dedicated.
But that's the beauty of it, though, right? Because all it takes is one person, right? Like we talked about push-ups, right?
Yeah.
All it takes is for me to see you doing that 155 push-ups, right?
Right.
Damn, you know what? Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe I go back home. Maybe I start to do them push-ups, right?
Right.
And then what happens? Oh, man, this works, right? And then my little cousin comes to the house. He sees it. It's an effect, and it just naturally happens, right?
That's what the abuelo from Mexico was saying, is that we carry our own atomic energy inside of us. And when we focus and harness the love into ourselves, and I feel like that's what happens at Malinali, is that I focus all that love into myself, right? I focus I have a particular diet because I have a vision for the space that I'm in. So it's my way of focusing all that energy into that space, by not overeating and overindulging and things of that nature. That's why I think, things are going well, although they're not perfect and we're like a hair away from losing everything. But, I'm focusing all that energy into all the fasting, all the minerals, all that. And how do I do that? It's not just sitting there and letting the energy go in. No, I fucking sweep and I cut tomatoes and I fucking make shit.
Yeah.
I make an agua. I talk to people. And when I talk to people, I fucking really mean and I make a connection. When they buy the sandwich, they go, fuck, not only did I get an amazing sandwich, but I met a cool fucking guy.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean by focusing all that energy into that space.
And this is what space? Marinati Superfoods in East Los Angeles, off of Whittier Boulevard.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Marinati Superfoods, we got our brother Daniel in the mix.
What up, Daniel? Can you hear us?
Hey, brother, greetings.
What's up? How you doing,
Hey,
man?
what's
And
up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Hey, did you send Daniel the other Daniel one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, Daniel. Daniel is, man, I'm a big fan of what Daniel does. Daniel does a reggae sound system. And what I love about it is that they're all raza, they're all brothers. And when you go listen to Teocali and their events, you hear the most sweetest, bombest reggae, like songs that, I mean, obviously we love Bob Marley and we love all the popular groups or whatever, but you guys play the bomb shits. Can you talk a little bit about what you do, Daniel?
Sure. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you. Does everybody?
Yes.
Does chat?
Okay.
Can the chat check?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to double check that, but yeah. No, we do reggae music. All vinyl selections. Me, my brother, my good friend Sal, also familia. We are big time fans of reggae music. Myself and these guys, they've been collecting music. Sal's been collecting music since the 80s and going to Jamaica, little Mexican brother going to Jamaica, dealing with the brothers out there and collecting the music. So we got this this history, of this music that we really love. The message, I think, is what really draws us in, and has been drawing us in, because it's the same story, man. The same story of what's happened to our people, very similar to what's happened to, of course, the African gentes. And so yeah, man, the music just really has resonated with us. And so we try to honor the original format of how this music was delivered in Jamaica. Of course, we all know now, right, that hip hop, punk, electronica, all these musics have their roots in reggae music. And it really kind of all worked with the sound system, because of course, in Jamaica, the radio stations didn't want to play, this rebel music. And so the only way that this music and taking the people was by building down systems and taking it from community as they delivered the message with this music. And so and that's where, I grew up in, I remember my first experience with the DJ sound system was in the 80s, going to parties where I grew up in Santana, in Orange County. And little did I know that one day, I was going to figure out that all this music has its roots in this music. You mentioned listening to K-Rock music back in the day, brother, and it was the same thing for me too in the 80s. I was listening to K-Rock and that reggae music, and I was really turned on to all that. Yeah. And so yeah, man, the music is definitely, delivering a message, and we're trying to be as authentic as possible by not only creating a sound system that looks like a real authentic Jamaican style sound system, all hand built by myself and my brothers, and trying to deliver the music.
We did our first event together on New Year's. So the reason I have Daniel on, and obviously I'm promoting what they do because it's amazing. I treat them like a band. It's like a band experience when you see them, because it's just such an array of really good reggae music. And to tap back in, I was talking to Sky earlier before you joined us, Daniel, that I quoted a Bob Marley thing, a Bob Marley lyric. And I know we're talking about Bob Marley, the most trendiest reggae thing, but those lyrics really changed my life. You know what I mean? When someone says it in a song that you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool people all the time, that gives you an opportunity to not be that person to be fooled. In a song that you can fool some people sometime.
Yo,
Daniel,
Daniel,
all the time, that gives you
you might have to turn that down.
not be that person to be.
My bad.
Daniel, you have to turn down the sound on the computer because I think it's echoing. But you have the that inspiration with profound lyrics, and it's not just Bob Marley that has profound lyrics. Once you start going down that road of reggae music and especially the roots, deep spiritual reggae music, I think when you listen to reggae music, in my opinion, it's not about race. It's just about consciousness. You know what I mean? That's what they used to talk about, at least the old Rastas that we used to kind of study back in the day, because I was a part of Quinto Sol, and that's a reggae band. It's a Chicano reggae band that's been around for 25 years. And I remember our road into, understanding reggae and going after Israel vibrations, and going deep into the reggae heroes. Gregory, things that weren't really kind of trendy, that were kind of done in the 70s and stuff like that. And we found inspiration. We found some really profound lyrics in those songs. So I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your even just the atmosphere that you create with your sound system. And I always have a great time when I go to your events. I've been to maybe 2 or 3. And one of them being the Cali Sober that we had. So to get back to that is that we're trying to create non-alcoholic environments. You know, it's very important, I think, for for our future. You know, if anything I can do in my lifetime is create safe alcoholic environments, because we don't need it anymore. Just leave that alone. Don't even mess with it. I mean, I know some people, oh, I don't drink a lot. I just drink sometimes. How about just leaving it alone completely? You know what I mean? That buzz is not relevant to you anymore, right? We have a new buzz, right? Or we have a new way of expressing ourselves, or we have a new way of congregating, and that would be, you know, cannabis, you know. So we're calling it like a Cali sober movement, you know. We've seen it several spaces, and we want to inspire the young folk to be like, you know what? There's alternatives to very poisonous things that will fuck up your life in the end. You know what I mean? When we eliminate alcohol, so we're gonna take this thing that dumbs you down and eliminate it from our events, and we're gonna put in high quality, conscious vibrations through this world music that doesn't see race, it sees consciousness and the healing of the earth, right? And that's the one thing is like another thing that Bob Marley said was he said, know your culture. And when he said that, that's when I turned to Indus. You know, and I started following my culture. And I started doing the same thing he did, but in my own way, through my own ways. So I'm trying to bring that inspiration back to people that there's alternatives to getting drunk, and reggae isn't this dance hall thing all the time. There can be some very conscious, inspiring lyrics that come from this type of thing. So
I actually call it roots music.
yeah, the roots. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's our vibe there. That's our vibe. When we did it on New Year's, man, the anxiety level was non-existent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was chill.
What do you think, Daniel?
I'm sorry. Hey, now, good to see everybody. Hey, but yeah, it's true. Daniel is a good source of music, energy. His heart kind of thumps through the system, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so, yeah, it's good to see the homie on there, you know?
Yeah,
Hey, but I think you're missing something. This guy is a science teacher, and he doesn't only work with youth, he works with the youth that says, hey, the system sucks. I'm going to try this, you know? So, hey, you know, he's a teacher too, a man of a good heart.
absolutely. And that's what I felt, you know, when I first met him and I saw him do. I seen him do an event with DJ Shiloh from Amsterdam. Was he from Amsterdam? Daniel?
Uh, I I don't know, Daniel.
Hello? Could you hear us, Daniel?
I can. Can he?
No, Daniel from Teocali.
I think you don't know which one you're addressing.
From Teocali.
I can't hear him.
I know, I can't either.
Yeah, he might be cutting out.
Oh, it might be his internet thing.
His heart's too strong.
Ah,
Maybe he needs to get on the Chrome. I did that too, but you got to get on the Chrome.
Yeah, maybe your browser has to be on Chrome. Maybe you should log out and get Chrome. Because it's like
Yeah, he's free.
anyways, Daniel, yeah, we were talking to Daniel from Teocali because we're doing the February 24th event.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome,
February 1st.
Ruben. That event was really cool. I think you're on the right path, and I mean, it's kind of interesting going with the theme of what you're talking about. You know, those events are where we of the similar minded feelings, you know, with our heart come together. And man, it was really some neat people, you know. And
Right.
the homie there, when you asked, you know, where we start, he's right on. Myself, we got to start with me, because if I can have, you know, I could be cool here, then I'll share that with everybody, you know.
That's what the abuelo was saying from Mexico, you know, that I saw on social media. He was saying, you know, like when we concentrate on focusing ourselves on every aspect of our life, our diet, our routine,
Right,
our
right.
spirituality, our
Right.
expression of art, our communication with our family, our communication with our community. When we take the responsibility of that, and what I mean by that is being the best at everything that you can do. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I don't know. For me, it's starting a business. I know the structures of it. You know what I mean? Like if I get investors, I know what to do, because I have experience of doing that. And I focus all my energy into having the most healthiest body, then my decisions are very calculated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you could even go simpler than that. You could start at the house, right? Say you live with your mom. Oh, well, how can I be the best son?
Yeah.
Right? How can I be the best brother to you, right? And then naturally things start to fall in place.
Because of that energy and how you're distributing it, that's a very important thing. So that's what I'm talking about when I say change can happen. Breaking the colonial perspective and breaking the chains of colonialism is to do that. Once you do that, you meet another guy who does that, and then another guy who does that, and now everybody's doing that.
Ruben, you're so right. And I was thinking about it yesterday, and I wanted to share this on the podcast because it was something that was profound to me. Is that I took over the gardening business with my dad, and I still go with him because I take care of my dad full time. And it's interesting how you say that. My routine in the morning, I get up and I make tea for that guy, and I cut his fruit open and give him fruit, and I think to myself, the fuck am I doing, man? But that's, it's like I just do that for him, and it's like, oh my God, it's like methodical. Like I gotta be there to make my dad's breakfast, and it's like, but my point is, so we go to work, and I couldn't stand this guy growing up, but now I'm here and I'm thinking, we gotta just we gotta be cool with each other. And so we're driving down the street, Ruben, and I shit you not, my little town of Sunnyvale, pretty conservative, nice town. I look in it, my dad goes, "Is that what I think it is?" And I said, Dad, I think it is. It's a little kid, about 2.5 years old, he's holding one shoe, and he's right in the middle of the street, walking. And so we were both tripping, and there's a guy coming this way, Mexicano, stops and tells me, "Stop." And I was like, "Whoa." I said, "Hey, is that your kid?" He goes, "No, I don't know whose kid that is." And I look, and another Mexicano comes, and he picks the kid up, and he takes him off the street. And I just think to myself, all the raza around us. And and I told you, I grew up in an all-white town, mostly güeros, and it kind of tripped me out. And I looked at this little kid, and he was an Indian kid, an East Indian. And man, my dad, we were just thrown back, like, damn, how just, in this town that we grew up in, there's a little kid about to get run over. And I just think, boy, crazy, you know what I mean? And but it made me feel good that all of us stopped and said, hey, and it made me think of, I saw a quote. It was a Sitting Bull. Sitting Bull gave a quote. He said that, for us, a warrior doesn't kill people. That's not what the warrior's about. He said the warrior is here to protect our people, to do what the Sacred Eight got caught up doing, protecting our people, helping the elderly, helping the defenseless. That's what a warrior does. A warrior moves from his heart and protects his people.
Right. And
a terrorist, hey man, fuck you.
I want to add to that. I want to add to that, because when we say protect people, right, we automatically think violence.
We were talking about that,
right?
I don't think that. I think I picked that little kid up, and you know what I mean. So hey, I'm not part of that narrative.
No,
brother.
Even if okay, let's just take, for instance, like, a scenario of sense of like, okay, we're in a tribe, and another tribe comes that we're not familiar with. The warrior goes up and says, "Hey, what are you doing here? And who are you?" Not violently beating them up right away and, taking them as captive, but finding out I'm the brave one to confront you because you're coming into a territory that I need to protect. Right there, when I turned before you came, when I was there, I was the gentle giant. I was touching things soft, right? Because they're my loved ones. And my loved ones get to get that treatment. But when you're foreign from me and you're around them, then I turn into something different. And it's not violent. It's confronting. It's asking the right questions because you're protecting something that can go away. Mm-hmm. So that I take that because, everyone knows the story of Geronimo, right? Where they murdered his family. Right. And then he became the greatest warrior. Right. And if we take that story, I was listening to that story and I was hearing the audiobook of him. And I was like, man, if someone annihilated my family, I would be insane. And they said that he wouldn't fear bullets. Like he would walk in the field of, what do you think that is? He wants the bullet to hit him. Mm-hmm. He wants this pain to stop. But he was so brave. He was facing death, and life was saying, no, you're important to your community, so
Right.
you're gonna miss. And he's
And that
going.
guy was an inspiration, Ruben. That
You
guy,
know
he
what I
was
mean?
an inspiration.
Dude, to come back from losing your love, like God, when a man loves a woman, man, he loves her, and
Yeah.
then she's gone.
Hey,
For
I think we
a
got
man.
Daniel back, Ruben.
Oh, cool.
I
How we
think we got
doing?
him back. Looks like he's there.
I'm here with my Citlali right here.
Oh,
Straight up.
wow.
All right, cool, man.
Nice
Well,
looking cat.
we got off on a little tangent in the sense, we're talking about community, and we're talking about warriors, we're talking about many different subjects today. But I want to get back to what we're doing with you, brother. And on February 24th, we're going to do a small event there at the Malinali parking lot, and we're going to have Daniel bring his reggae sound system, and talk about other days you do, Daniel. Like, I know you're not going to just do February 24th. There's other things that you do, right, throughout the month.
Yeah. We recently got a residency right here in downtown Pomona at the DBA. It's a wine bar, but yeah, we do there Sundays from 8 p.m. to about midnight, and yeah, we use their house sound right there. And we got some other dates coming up with the sound system. But yeah, definitely February 24th, Malinali Superfoods. We're bringing the sound system, roots and culture music, healing vibes, conscious music for all. And
we get treats with this. We get an extra bonus thing that comes along with Malinali's. With Teocali's, reggae sound system. Is the brother that comes from Puerto Rico, right? He comes and does like
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the brother Ross Melai. He's from Puerto Rico, of course, Taino. In the mix right there in Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, he's actually going to be going back to Puerto Rico for his sister's wedding on that weekend, so he's not going to be with us.
But but usually he's there, and whether he's on the 24th, that's cool or not. I mean, but he's usually there. I bring him up because he's always there, and he's Spanish. Like he does the sound system, or where he sings is in Spanish.
Yeah, so he DJs or he's on the mic in Espanol style, singing about, what's happening today, in the past with our gentes, our peoples, the campesino. So yeah, that's definitely, he's definitely a member of our sound system. But like I said, unfortunately, he won't be joining us on that one in particular. Instead, I think we're going to be having our good friend Tippa Lee, original Jamaican Studio One singer who was there with us on New Year's.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, he's got plenty.
You know what? I heard his track. His track is fire. Somebody had a record of it, right? He had somebody was playing one of his songs, Tippa Lee's songs.
Yeah. Rossell was playing his new release.
There you go, that one.
Yeah, reggae is my girlfriend or something like that. I'm gonna get that right because Tippa Lee, reggae is that's his life, man. You know, man. And we're very blessed to have him here in Los Angeles. For those of you who attend the Dub Club or used to attend the Dub Club on the regulars, Tippa Lee was definitely one of the guys that you would see on the mic. And in reggae music, the DJ is the guy who is writing the rhythm with his lyrics. And so Tippa Lee is an original DJ from Jamaica who we're very blessed to have him join us on the Teocali sound system. So yeah, definitely familia as well too, man.
And that's what I just wanted to bring up. Usually it's the guy from Puerto Rico. I mean, every event that I went to, he was there. That's why I was kind of excited. But unfortunately, he has plans. But he's really cool, and you could see him in Pomona, right? Because you guys do a monthly there in Pomona, and there'll be other events. So I want you guys to go follow at Teocali on Instagram.
Teocali sound system.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the Instagram, yeah.
Teocali. You know what? Share your handle so that it's clear. Go for it.
Okay, let me see here. All right, let me see.
Yeah, follow Teocali on Instagram. Get familiar with what they do, because what they do is super entertaining. I always have fun, and usually when they do something, I'm there.
It's a one of a kind experience for
Yeah.
sure. New Year's was definitely a one of a kind experience.
It was
right? It
fun.
was
All
dope.
the
It
MCs
was
were
hella dope.
fire that night.
It was
It
dope.
was good. That music was so good. Like it was just, man.
And the vibe, it was
The
just the
vibe,
whole
yeah.
vibe. It
The
was just,
visuals, everything was just there. It was
It reminded me of Sierra Nevada. Those old reggae school, old schools, man.
Yeah.
and then we're also working. I'm also working with another close friend of mine on a show called Smoke Signals. We're gonna do a series of shows called Smoke Signals, and that we're gonna invite. We're in the works, and I just mentioned it to him, but nothing's locked down for sure. But Brother Dreezus with Matt Mack, who are indigenous, very, 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 very well known indigenous artists from Canada. And they're going to come to our space, and we'll have the Teocalli Garden too, because we'll have them there too. But we also want to focus on indigenous art, that comes from all over Turtle Island. That's the vision for Smoke Signals, is to showcase indigenous artists that come from different parts of Turtle Island, and then that we become the home base that they come to in Los Angeles, because we have the restaurant, we have plant-based Taslan, we have all this stuff, and we have talented people all around us like Daniel and both Daniels.
My tocayo.
Yeah, my God. And it's one of my favorite people in the world, brother. It was so nice to see this guy. Like, man, I hadn't seen him in years. And so, man, it's just cool. Some people you just, man, you see him and you just pick up where you left off, It's,
Yeah. And Zero had been mentioning, for that New Year's event, there's this guy that's gonna come down and blah blah blah. And then at the end, I was like, wait, what? This is Daniel, my tocayo, what? So no, it was a
cool.
blessing. And him and I go back, man, probably like 15, 20 years,
Yeah, 20
from
years at least,
going,
brother.
yeah,
Crazy.
going back to the old school Sierra Nevada shows,
Right.
and of course you being a vendor there. And I remember, I was like, what? I love that. Somebody, one of our gentes, an indigenous brother, is right here representing with all the beautiful,
Right. And I was tripping out to think you lived in East LA. I was thinking, wait, you live where I live? How I never see you?
Yeah,
and
man.
that would be the only time that I'd see you. The only time I'd see you was there.
Yeah.
It was cool. But it's good to see you, brother. And I look forward to seeing you at that event. It's, man,
So
gonna be a good event.
this is another example of what I mean in for the LA natives community. Remember we were talking about like what happened? So you got to put your mic on.
Yo, before we move forward, the chat is lit. The viewership is lit. Make sure you guys like the video, share the video, comment on the video. It will help the algorithm on YouTube get us a couple steps higher.
Hey, my tocayo, I'm going to have a couple bats for us.
Oh, yeah? Oh, hey, all right. I'll be ready to swing.
And if there's any viewers who are not subscribed, subscribe right now.
Absolutely. So what I was saying, is that this conversation with these people that are here are those people that are working on themselves. And that's why I think we're congregating and we're creating events and we're coming together to share with, it's a group of warriors that are coming together in their own way. Some are warriors, and for me, it's the spiritual fasting and I'm getting into other things because I started recently doing push-ups, just to deal with what I'm dealing with personally. But I'm up to 156 push-ups a day, and I've been doing it for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's at 75 right now.
Yeah. And, but I break it down in 26. So I do sets of 26, sets of 26. I just give myself from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep to finish 150.
213s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I use the sacred numbers to keep me focused. And it's been working, man. I've been feeling great. It helps me with what I'm dealing with personally. But, we got to keep moving forward. And that's what I'm talking about, community. I'm talking about working on here. Because you work on here, then it's like what Daniel said from Manawak, that it can't help but extend out, right? Yes. When you focus here. If you're not focused here, if you're eating bad and having bad habits and expecting to have light dimming your own light, focus here. Focus on you. No one's gonna love you more than you.
Exactly.
No one's gonna love
Facts.
you more than you,
Facts.
man. If you're expecting someone to love you more than you, and these
We
are
ain't doing it,
lessons
bro.
we learned. These are lessons that I hope I could, partake, share to the younger generation, such as Sky's generation. No one's gonna love you more than you, and that does not mean to be selfish. That does not mean that. That means that you're gonna be the strongest. You're gonna be the first one they call on. That's what that means when you focus on you.
That's a great point. And somebody, a wise man, once said, like, how can you, if I'm drowning and I don't know how to swim, how can I save you, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in this suffering sea and I'm drowning, right, and I see you drowning, how am I going to be able to help you, right? How am I going to tell you how to live your life if I'm drowning in mine, right? Or how even if I'm coaching, right? If I don't know how to play basketball, how can I tell you how to make a 3-pointer, right? You have to focus on oneself, and it's not to say, oh, I'm going to be selfish, right? I'm not going to talk to anybody else. I'm going to be locked in my house and stuff like that. But you really got to hone in on what are my issues, right? What am I self-reflecting on? What am I eating? All these different things. You really got to look at yourself.
Because we all try to solve things in our head right away. You know what I mean? We all think that the problem is in our head. It's not in your head, dude. It could be in your kidneys. It could be in your bloodstream. It could be in things that are very relevant to how you see things every day. And that's just that's what I've learned by experiencing what I've been experiencing for the past 8 years, which is fasting for 5 days and then eating once a day the rest of the year. And mainly focusing on hydration, right? So that's Brother Daniel from Teocali. I thought, like, he's like my brother. Like, he's doing some good stuff. He's changing people's hearts with just the atmospheres he's creating with him and all of his crew, because it's not just him. There's a crew that comes with them, and there's a young lady that his partner that comes and helps and does his supports. That's beautiful. I love that, man. She's the one doing all the videos, and see, we want to see those type of examples.
Hey,
Those
Ruben,
examples. Yeah.
Ruben, you know what I wanted to add is that when you were talking about, when you were protecting a space and we're being a warrior, I know myself, you're doing my best to follow my warrior path. When I saw Daniel, I didn't even need to know who he was, but when I saw him, man, my heart said, "Hey, man, that's my reflection," And so when I think of seeing him, I think of the way I see youth, right? People today, and I just think that narrative gets lost. That I can't even put into words when I see somebody who has a heart that resembles or feels like my heart, like you too. When we met, it's like we linked together, and so there was nothing about me that made me feel like, oh, this guy's gonna hurt me, or it just my heart just felt you, and I mean, as a man, to feel another man that energy, to me, it's like a lot of my life, men always threatened me or just were uncomfortable with me, because, and part of it was because if I was okay with myself, it was threatening to them. And I was like, man, where I see Daniel, and it was like, hey, we were both like, hey, it was just a good connection. And I think that's the way, like, that's what makes me happy. I was a teacher for a long time, and I know he's a teacher. And so you, who are in many ways a teacher too, Zero, like when you would be on concert, because I used to manage their group, and I'd see him singing and just being the warrior on stage, and then seeing people just connect with him and just like, wow, and you can't say, wow, Ruben, I wonder if you tried to do that. It's just when you speak from your heart, it's a universal language. It's that spiral that flows correctly, like the tonal machotl is following this direction. But if you spin it the opposite way, come on, it's like light and dark, life and death. And so what do you choose? I choose love in the heart. I'm not, there's fear's not part of the equation, because we come from knowledge and experience.
And I have a question for Sky when we talk about, like, coming from the heart, because I know that I've had conversations with younger generations where they feel that that's weak, like, to come from the heart, right? Like, you got to be more intellectual. You got to come from your head. And then what Daniel is describing is coming from the heart, okay? But it's not the heart defined by the way you think it is in the generation. What we're saying is that we went through the trenches together somehow. Some way. Something connected us. We did something together that bonded us. And you only bond. I was talking about an analogy that I posted on Instagram that now I'm, a one-man wolf pack, right? And to get to a wolf pack, there's bonding that happens between the wolves because they go and they risk their lives together, right? That's the heart that we're talking about, not the softy, I love you.
No, for
Like
sure.
it's there, but you only do that. You only let your guard down in the wolf pack when you feel comfortable and that bond has been created. It's safe to do that, and that's what I think is happening right here, like a natural wolf pack that protects the community because Daniel's coming in with the Teocalli sound, who's bringing higher consciousness, higher vibes, lyrics that are fucking out of this world. Daniel from Anawak's bringing in the wisdom of our ancestors from all of his studies. I'm coming in with the poetry, heart, and discipline of diet and fasting. And then we got the younger generation, and we're leading them into our reality before he reaches that dumb bullshit we reached when we were fucking kids, It's like,
Save me.
Higher standards. Higher
not really saved, but more like guide.
when I was
Because you're still gonna
25
make mistakes,
When I was 25, I was absolutely lost.
Yeah, man.
That was like over 25 years ago for me.
But
Exactly.
now that I've said that, because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
What do you think about that? Coming from the heart,
I think
is it weak?
me personally, I don't feel like it's weak because I think, and especially in LA, where I would say young men were put into this box where it's like when you talk about protection, right? See, I come from a single parent household. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, right? So when you talk about protection, immediately I feel like the mind goes to, oh, I gotta be the man of the house. I gotta protect it, right? If somebody comes and knocks on the door, oh, I gotta get my bat, right? I gotta get something. I gotta peep the hole, right? But it's like, why am I thinking like that, right? Because my heart is closed, right? I don't have that open heart. But if I drop that bat, and I go to the door and it's a man there, and instead of me coming and looking at him all aggressively and what are you doing here, right? Like, if I have that open heart and I greet him and I welcome him to my home, that changes everything, right? Knowingly and unknowingly. So I feel like right now the youth, we're programmed to be so protective and that's weak, man. Never show your true heart to somebody else. Why not? Right? Because that might do something for that person, right? I meet you, you're very standoffish, you're very fucked up to me, but if I come up with you with an open heart, that might plant something inside of you and that might change you. Right? And you might not even know that, right? You might go home and, man, why was this guy so nice to me? Why did he treat me like that? Most young men don't.
Right. It's not a weakness to have an open heart or to have that approach with people.
Absolutely.
Because what people, and this is just my opinion, I want to hear Daniel and Teocalli's opinion, but the reason why we're protecting something so fragile, you know what I mean? That's what makes it like, when you open your heart, that's a fragile space, So it comes with strategy and it comes with practice.
Yes.
About who to do that with. We're talking about a bond. Like the bond is that I'm doing what I can do for my community. Daniel's doing what he could do for his community by bringing the music, and you know what I mean. Like they're opening their heart to their community. Right? And they're protecting this very fragile space with whatever it takes when they're threatened. Right?
Yeah.
And it can also be, and like I said, we automatically think that the greatest warriors were the greatest strategists. They strategized the best. They knew, look, they're all right there on that ridge, and they don't know anything about the back path. So I need 5 of you to go through the back path. You know what I mean? It's a warrior isn't the toughest, isn't the one that goes into the front line or has the biggest sword or has the biggest gun. It's the guy that has the biggest strategy in his mind and can see what's happening.
Yeah, I just started reading The Art of War, and it's talks all about that. Right?
I read 1 or 2 chapters, but I'm not taking it. When you protect something you love, the strategy just goes. You know, you get 50. You may have been like, I'm gonna answer the door, but I know that there's a fucking pole right there. If that fucking dude is not good, you know what I mean? Like you start to strategize. That it's not aggressive, it's protection, right? You're gonna protect anything that you feel is gonna come into something or the area that you love. That it just, I think that's why sometimes when families break up and the space gets invaded by, you don't have control of that space anymore. That thing that you used to protect so much, it just not in your control anymore. You know. But then again, when that space happens, I advise to go here. When you come back to yourself, when you go, okay, this is all taking energy, and where am I going to apply that energy? For me, it was applying the energy to my physical body, and that's the push-ups. And it multiplies, and I get stronger and stronger. My goal is to probably do 260 a day. That's my goal. But right now I'm at 156, so I'm good.
Why stop there, Mike? I think he did 500 a day.
Nah, I'm trying to stay to the sacred numbers, like the sacred calendar that Tonalama is 260. So if I'm pushing the force of my life with physical movement to 260, then I'm using those energies and those numbers. Believe me, I don't think I would get to 156 if I didn't use the structure of 13 twice, which is 26. 26 times 2 is 52. So then I just need to do 4 sets of 52. See, it's simple.
Yeah.
You could do it, man. I've been doing it. It's been great.
Course, yeah.
It's been great. But anyways, Daniel from Teocalli, man, thanks for coming on, bro. We're February 24th, Malanali Superfoods. Go to our Instagram. Stay close to our Instagram. Stay close to Teocalli's Instagram, because it's not only the February 24th. I just want you to be linked in with them because they do some great, amazing events, and they're all high quality vibes, man. I've never been to a space where it was just not right. You know what I mean? I've been to, there's a Tuesday night called the Boom Boom Room or something like that. It's like a reggae thing, or that happens at one of the clubs, and I went and it was just like it was like, whoa, what's going on? This isn't reggae, man. This is something different. But what Teocalli does is special, and I think you'll like it, man. So all the LA Natives community that's in Los Angeles that want to partake and kind of join in with Teocalli and their movement, and Daniel will be there from Anáhuac, and I'll be there, and we're gonna all try to elevate the consciousness. And I'm sure that the conversations will be the same kind of conversations that we have here on LA Natives, So, just stay to our Instagram page, and we'll be putting out the flyer, if not today, tomorrow. But it was also nice to have you, Sky, and have your perspective on things too, man, because I think the younger generation, if we can guide them with love and respect, and that doesn't mean that they follow everything that we say. That what that means is that we have patience to see them grow and make mistakes, and be there for them when they make those mistakes, even though they didn't follow your advice. It's their life anyways. I think that's the perspective that we had back then. I know because that blood still runs in me. And I do everything in my power to awaken it and treat it with love and respect. Because I think when we look inward and we look deep into ourselves and we connect on every single blood cell that lives in your body, when we connect on that level, then those blood cells have information. And then the force that comes from the universe that pumps your heart gives you the will. And when you have the will, then you create an intention. And that's what we've been doing.
Absolutely. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be here talking with all of you gentlemen and just learning. I'm a big person on. I'm big on just self improvement and self growing. So I can't be stagnant. You know. So gave me a good metaphor, and they're like, if you have a cup of water, right, and it's the purest water in the purest form, and you just sit it there on the table, what's gonna happen to that water? It's gonna get dirty, right? It's gonna collect dust. But you need it to be through a constant filter, right? You need the water to be running in order to be pure. So I think that applies to everything we talked about today when it comes to the self, right? What are you doing on a daily basis, right? And for the listeners, for the viewers, like, don't feel intimidated. Like, all this stuff is so simple. It's about making life simple and not overcomplicating things, right? Tomorrow morning, even tonight after this podcast is done, you can start everything that we talked about. You can begin to apply it, right? So
That's the challenge.
You can start going to the gym as soon as this podcast is over.
You could do that.
And you know, start simple, man. Like Sky was just saying, it is a very simple process. But when we break, like, it's kind of like when I tell you, oh, Sky, I'm gonna start doing 156 push-ups, and you think I'm gonna bang it out in an hour or two? No, all at once. That's not gonna happen. You know, but I can be a mexica, right? And I can break it down into sequences. And if I follow those sequences, it'll total up to the sum. So I use math to fix my body. Math is fixing my body. It's not just my thoughts of cleaning my thoughts and my bad thoughts. It's not that. It's math. I'm using math. I'm using 13 times 2 is 26. 26 times 2 is 52. If I do 4 of those, I hit my goal.
Shout out to Ruben Crowfeather. He says he's at the gym right now.
Nice. There we go. Shout out to all my brothers, all my warriors that are working on their vessel. You know, that sacred vessel. It's important. It's the one gift they gave you.
Right.
The stars gave you one gift, and that's your vessel. Don't mistreat it with bad thoughts. Don't mistreat it with bad food. Don't mistreat it with bad recreation. Love it. Create brotherhoods, bonds.
It's your Teocalli.
Exactly. Exactly. It's your
You only have one.
Exactly. It's your and you know what? True to be Daniel, right? It's the metaphor, right? The temple is a metaphor for the human body, correct?
Yes.
That's true. Yep. Yes. You know, Teocalli sound system, it's in the shape of a temple, of course. And so that's why I thought, you know, hey, wow, what a great, you know, what a great idea. But not only that, it's the idea that our ancestors used music and song and dance for prayer, you know, and so that's what we do. That's what we do with the Teocalli. You know, we're focusing in on, oh, it's not about I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that. It's about creating this space, this safe space where you can tune in to a higher consciousness, you know, and gather your energy and prepare your medicine bundle so that you can go out and go back into Babylon, into society, and battle them. But you're good and you're strong because your shield is strong, right? You listen to all these conscious lyrics and these heavy bass rhythms that these 4 18-inch scoops right here provide. And that's the idea, man. Teocalli, it's where we gather to get our energy, and we do it in prayer, we do it in dance, we do it in song, just like our ancestors did. And of course, we're doing it our own way today. You know, we got reggae music. We got this beautiful electronic device hand built right here. Some of the best plywood you could get out there. Hopefully meant to last for another 52 years of my life.
Just you know, this is what I mean, man. Like, this is the brotherhood. These are the vibrations that you get when we go to an event that's produced by, you know, LA natives or has an association with Malinali, this is the bonds that we are trying to create, because they're not temporary, they're permanent. You know, these bonds are permanent. You know, obviously things happen in life and sometimes we go our different ways, but I think bonds are meant to be permanent. You know, you don't let somebody in that close unless it's going to be permanent, you know? And those are sacred things that we need to focus on as a community, because that'll solve a lot of the problems that sometimes we have when we are going up against a social issue. Unfortunately, the Justice 8, amazing individuals, but I've heard stories at the courthouse where people are fighting each other. They're going for a good cause, but they're fighting each other because one has more information than the other, and the other person's trying to get more likes, or I don't know, video or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. The point is that we're not going in there with unity. We're not going in there with brotherly bonds. That's what we need to turn over anything that we want to change in this society. Love for each other breaks their power. And that's the type of vibe that the Ocali comes with, in terms of the songs and the music that comes. They just keep saying that over and over again with the big-ass reggae beat. And, you're partaking in a non-alcoholic recreational, experience. There you go. Thanks, guy.
420 friendly though.
420. Yes. Well, that's our vibe. That's my vibe. That's been my vibe for 25 years. I've not changed. I've never been shy about that. And I think it keeps me humble. It keeps me off a pedestal. I'm not trying to be on a pedestal. I'm just trying to focus on my vessel, right? I'm not trying to focus on my vessel to be better than Armando, to be better than Sky, to be better than... I'm not doing that for that. I'm doing it so that if Daniel goes, hey, can you help me with the speaker? I'm able to help him with the speaker. If Daniel says, hey, man, can you help me with the box of shirts? Right on, bro, I'm there. That's why I work on my vessel, not to be better than anyone else. I go to the gym too, and they're all walking around like, fucking look at me, man, I'm fucking cut, and, who, and let me look down on you. But you can't run 3 miles. You have to eat constantly. Are you really that tough? You know what I mean? Like, I think last night I said, can you run 3 miles? And guys were like, yeah, I can run 3 miles. It's like, well, can you run, can you do 156? But I could probably do 156. But yeah, you're right. Can you do it just eating once a day and plant-based? Maybe not. So then we work on ourselves to do that so we can be strong enough to do that. It's not to make you feel less. It's to be an example. Ruben, I kind of want to be like that.
Yeah. Not just that, but to challenge oneself, right? I don't want to be like, oh, I know everything. Like, oh, I can't listen to this person. I don't have anything to learn. No, I want to be able to learn from everybody.
And that's the point of this podcast. Everything that I do to help my vessel be stronger, and I don't keep it a secret. That's why I created a podcast, to share that information with everyone. Tell you what foods I eat: spirulina, maca, chia, cacao, hemp, pine pollen, ashwagandha, horny goatweed, more maca root, more spirulina. That's what I eat every day. There's no secret. When I do that consistently, and I have been doing it consistently for 8 years, I could fast for 5 days and I eat once a meal and it's plant-based. And I don't drink beer and I don't eat meat. I don't drink any alcohol of that. To get buzzed and stuff like that. I drank a cider once or twice, but I'm not into that vibe. We're into the bonding, higher consciousness, our ancient knowledge and our ancient wisdom, and creating a community that can't be broken. Can't break everyone if everyone focuses on their vessel. That's the kind of vibe that we want to, kind of create.
Absolutely, you can never be broken. You build yourself up enough.
Great show, guys. Make
Absolutely.
sure again, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Daniels.
Yes. Well, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on February 24th, Teocalli.
Flyer dropping soon tonight, I think.
Tonight, yes, for sure. Tag us on it, and so that we can start spreading the word. And then we'll see you too, Daniel. Thanks for joining the show. You're going to be here February 24th, right?
I think.
You're going to be here on the February 24th, Daniel? Hello? No?
How are we doing?
You can't hear me?
I
don't think you can hear me. Anyways. Daniel.
Yo, can you hear me, Daniel?
No,
I don't think so. I think he's gone too.
Okay. Anyways, bye, Daniel. I'm sorry. I think you're froze up or started muting or whatever. But yeah, man. Once again, it was a good show. Looked like the chat was very
The
involved.
chat was awesome tonight, guys.
I mean, I like your opinions, man. You should be here, and then maybe you should sit closer than you just kind of engage with the chat.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I
I
mean?
see some comments in there, too, that I'd like to pick at for definitely the next show. I think it'd be great to interact with the audience more.
Absolutely, and so keep that in mind, chat, and know that it's sometimes it's hard to keep focus on the conversation and then read something, and I don't want to lose my thought process because I still haven't eaten today because to stay focused, I was gonna eat something and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna eat anything because it's gonna distract me from the message, and that's what I think we do as a warrior. We got to be focused. We don't get many shots at life. You have to protect it. Life wasn't meant to be easy. It was meant to be very difficult and challenging. But they gave you life. They gave you hands. They gave you eyes. They gave you ears. They gave you smell. They gave you a heart. That experience is what the abuelo was saying from Mexico is such a powerful gift. We need to look into ourselves and really be grateful about that. And take all that love when you meditate for yourself. Because you have the right to just sit down and go, I'm going to focus on me for whatever minutes, whatever hours, whatever. You have a right to sit with yourself, appreciate yourself, give yourself a pat on the back for the accomplishments you've made. Encourage yourself to continue to be as disciplined as you are. Because all you're trying to do is protect that gentle space. That's what we do, and that's what the kind of information we're sharing here on LA Natives. Tlasocamatli, Umeteo, Tonantzin, Donatu. I love you. We'll see you next Wednesday.